Jim Crow laws developed in the southern states, but they spread to other places. In many respects, these laws were much more than just laws. They were also social customs. You know, we all have seen the signs, you know, the whites only or blacks only, and even signs out west that prohibited Native Americans or Asians from being in certain spaces. And so when you look at kind of what these laws were designed for, the laws were designed to segregate people of color away from whites. They didn't segregate whites. They didn't restrict whites in terms of where they could go. They were specifically designed to prevent people of color from going into spaces that were designed for whites only. And so these laws would restrict where you could sit on a train traveling across the country, where you could sit on a bus traveling across your state, what restaurants you could eat at. You would also have restrictions on places that you could go and vote. There would be places that would be designed for whites only to vote, and blacks would have to vote in a different place. And what ends up happening, this becomes the custom of the United States. Around the country, you have Jim Crow laws on the books, and then in those states that didn't necessarily develop those laws, those Jim Crow customs were very common. Milwaukee is a perfect example of how we didn't have necessarily Jim Crow laws in the books, but we had Jim Crow customs. So there were certain places that blacks were not allowed to go to. There were restrictions in terms of where blacks could sit in theaters. So Jim Crow was you know, these legal maneuverings that took place that prevented people from going to certain places, but they also held a really, really important part in the segregation of America's minds. And what I mean by that is that you create a situation where whites become of a mindset that they are superior to these people of color because these spaces have been outlined specifically for them, preventing other people from joining these spaces. And what happens is that they begin to believe that they deserve to have those spaces away from people of color. And of course, people of color are very much discouraged in terms of their ability to go and do things the way they choose to. They have to explain to their children why they can't go to the amusement park on a particular day because it's only designated for blacks on Saturday or on whatever day. And so it becomes this very disheartening condition to live under, not just in terms of the spaces that you're not allowed into, but because of what it does to a community in terms of its mental health as well.